Hello ladies and gents, and I'm sorry to do this, but I've had to record my audio completely separately as there was just too much wind in the garden. Right, this week we will be talking about how to prune your apple tree. Now I know that pruning your apple tree is a big problem because I've lost count of the amount of people who have contacted me and said, Rob, I've moved into a house and I've inherited an apple tree and I just don't know what to do with it. Now this week I'm going to show you how to prune the apple tree that is behind me, and then with that information, hopefully that means you should be able to prune your own apple tree yourself without any fear. And I can pass you some of the knowledge that was passed to me by my father, who was a fruit farm manager of the Royal Estate in Sandringham for 47 years. Now the first thing you want to be looking at when you are pruning your apple tree is you want to look at the shape of the apple tree and the shape you want to try and achieve. Now the shape you want to try and achieve is the shape I'm demonstrating on the screen now. It is a kind of chalice shape, and the reason for this shape is because you want to have as much light getting into the middle of the tree evenly as possible. So it means that the tree will grow evenly and it will crop evenly. The additional reason for cutting your tree like this is it will stop it from shooting directly up and giving the tree extra height that you don't necessarily want if you want to be able to harvest your apples quickly and easily and without a ladder. Now, two quick things before you get started. Firstly, you've got to make sure that you prune at the right time of year. Now, my rule of thumb is I never prune before Christmas and I never prune after Easter. Now, so you've got that window of between January and March. This is for English trees, and that is the last thing you have to worry about before getting started. So you get your pruning saw, which I've just neatly got out of my pocket on screen there. I'm using a Laplander, or you can use secateurs on a smaller tree, which I probably should have done in this particular instance. Right, now what you can see me doing here is I'm going to take out that branch as it is cutting across another branch, and we don't want them to cross. We want to have one main chalice shape, as I was talking about before. Now I'm not going to cut it far away, I'm not going to cut it a little way away, I'm going to cut it right against the edge of that main branch. Now the reason for cutting it so close is very important, because if you think about it, you don't want to create an extra junction where the sap will be diverted and head off rather than going to the branches that will need it to grow leaves and crop. Or even worse, if it gets diverted there, it could cause unwanted growth in the very area that you've pruned the branchway before. Continuing with the chalice theme, you also don't want to have things coming down from the main bole area of your tree. So cut away any branches that hang down towards the ground or are below the main body of that chalice. Now you can see me continuing to prune the main body of the tree, and you can see that I'm taking out any branches that cut across the actual other main branches. So don't be afraid, you trim out anything that is cutting across and will get in the way of the other main branches. So you have those main stems that run up and form that chalice shape, and that includes anything that also cuts back inside into the bowl of that chalice. Okay, so take this one out as well because it's got a bit of a weird branch. One of the keys with this as well is not to be too panicked and think that you're going to actually kill off the tree, because you can be pretty brutal with these and they cope. Just making sure that everything's not too clogged and everything doesn't cross over everyone else. Should be fine. Bird perch on there, that's terrible. Now with the two branches that I'm holding here, they're both very good branches, and in this instance you don't really want to cut either off because it could be at detriment to the tree. So what I do is you can get a yogurt pot with a clothes peg in it, and you can make what is referred to, as my father used to refer to, a concrete apple. You can peg that onto the branch and it will lean the branch over, and if you leave that on there for a certain amount of time, that branch will be used to laying there like that, and it means that the two branches can stay as part of the tree and both have separate areas where they can live and not interfere with one another. Now if you look at the start of the video and how the apple tree looked and how the apple tree looks behind me now, you can see the difference between the apple tree that is pruned. It looks a lot barer, but it looks more of a defined chalice shape. Just make sure those branches aren't fighting for space, make sure that shape is maintained, and cut off anything that is unnecessary, and you've cut it off cleanly. And that is how to prune an apple tree. The only thing you need to watch out for is if there are any buds or leaves starting to form on the tree. You should not prune the apple tree, but other than that, just get out there, have a go, make that shape. That, and my father always used to say there was a good test to seeing if an apple tree was correctly pruned. You should be able to throw your hat through it, and as you can see, the apple tree is correctly pruned. So guys, if you like this content, please remember to like, share and subscribe, and remember to be your own island.
At least I can take